Hi guys. We are here with the amazing cast of Sweeney Todd. So we're just gonna go through and have you guys introduce yourself a little bit to start us off. Whoever wants to go first.
Cool. Yeah, my name's Andrew Perrone. I'm a junior at Queens, and I'm playing Mrs. Lovett.
And I'm Chris Smeltzer, and I'm playing Sweeney Todd.
Awesome.
My name's Sev, and this is Amber, and we are doing this as a part of a capstone project. But we're also just kind of super interested in kind of talking to you guys and seeing more about what you like about the characters and kind of how you came about to doing where you are now and kind of what things you enjoy about it the most. So do you guys relate to anything about your characters? Like, is there a scene that you really connect with, or maybe a song you really connect with, and kind of what and why?
Yeah, I mean, they're cannibals, so I don't know if I can say I relate to them.
You sure? I mean,
I don't know, but I don't know. I would call myself a pretty introverted person compared to Mrs. Lovett. She's very out there. She's very commanding of the space that she's in. So that would definitely, I feel like that's a very opposite trait to myself. But if there's one thing I really connect to, it's her stupid dad jokes. Like her awful, horrible jokes.
The puns.
The puns. There's too many puns, and it's right up my alley. Like, that's
I love that.
peak humor. I find Mrs. Lovett to be the funniest person in the room, like 100%. So I guess that's the closest I can relate to her, is like her hilarious innuendo to everything under the sun. She's really funny.
Yeah, when I met you, I got that vibe from you 100%.
Yeah.
The first time I met you, I was like, oh my gosh, she's so funny.
Dude, there's nothing like a good dad joke. Like a horrible, awful pun. I'm all for it.
Okay, Mr. Chris.
Yeah, so you play a dangerous game relating to characters in such a dark show like this. Especially with Sweeney, I find I have to put more effort in, especially as we get closer to doing this show and really putting it on its legs. You really have to detach. So it is one thing to recognize where your character comes from. And a lot with Sweeney is his motivation, his revenge ultimately comes from love. So being able to empathize with such a dark character, that's really about where I can draw the line on relating to him, because he is very, very dark. Yeah. You have to go to a very dark place to play this role well. So the main thing is be empathetic, attached to the sympathies of the character, but also recognize when to turn it off and become a human being again, because if not, you will just sink into the demon Barber.
Yes. Go do some yoga. Center yourself.
Do some yoga, some breathing exercises or something like that. You talk about like the preparation and the emotional attachment you have to have for these characters. Does, like, outside of your usual, like, I don't know, maybe a vocal warm up or something like that, what are kind of maybe some peculiar things you guys do to kind of warm up to play that character for the day of like a rehearsal, or maybe when you're even at home? Like, are there exercises you guys do to kind of put yourself in that space, and what are they?
Yeah, so I specifically, and I do this when I build any character that I'm performing as. It helps with accent preparation. It helps with just characterization as I attach it to something. The wonderful thing about Sondheim is that he gives you that in the score. So most of my character preparation, and even my advancement as the character progresses through the show, as my character emotionally develops throughout the entire thing, I use the score to do that. There are some very key moments where I'll be backstage during this production that I know my next entrance is an incredibly pivotal scene and a incredibly emotionally taxing scene. The music I'm given right before I come out is all I need to do it, because I have let that score, I really feel the score. Yeah. And use that to just drive that madness, drive that emotion to where when I run on stage, I'm there just immediately.
Interesting. That's really cool, because I feel like I feel like some people have a harder time connecting to score, like music in general, when it comes to like films and performances and things. So hearing that that's kind of all you need to do. I mean, like you said it yourself before, like you could listen to the whole score just by itself and it would tell you the whole story.
Music drives emotion.
Yeah,
that's where I come from with a lot of that.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Yeah. I personally, I'll talk about this show personally. The biggest thing, like Chris said, the music is a huge driving point. You know, it's gonna tell me where, like you said, where I'm going next. There's moments where it needs to be more frantic or moments where it's a lot more mysterious. Like, where is that balance? I would say specifically for Mrs. Lovett, the biggest challenge I've had is the accent. So that's something I've definitely implemented into my personal warming up, is like going from I'm from New York, so like I have a very Rochesterian accent, and then going into not a fine British accent, but like this broken lower class accent of like, I think one of her lines is like, such what won't be missed. And I'm like, Jesus, how do you like, there's too many words.
Like, those words should not go together.
Such what won't be missed. That's not a sentence.
Can't be a sentence.
So that's been my biggest thing, is figuring out how to get that accent in there, and like how to do that in a way that both one feels natural for me, that I can stay in character without being like, who the hell is talking right now? Heck is talking right now. I don't know if we can swear. I'm sorry guys.
We can edit
cut it
that
out.
one out.
Cut it out.
We can edit that one out. No, you're fine.
But like just being able to connect that, because I've never done a character with like a really strong accent before, so that's definitely been a new part of my regimen, and getting that under my belt for sure.
I would love a little taste of the accents if
Yeah,
you
what do
guys
you guys
could do
got?
it for me.
What was that?
I would love if
I
you
didn't say
can,
anything
it's
about
fine.
an accent. She said I didn't say anything about
I
that.
just want a little taste.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I can do. I'm trying to find like a spoiler-free section of a little bit of Sweeney. Oh, yeah. So at the beginning, I'm talking to Anthony, and it's kind of me giving a little bit of exposition to my past, because the show opens with Sweeney just arriving off a ship with Anthony with him. So this is my first like song to tell my story. But in the conversation, it's with Anthony. It's, I beg your indulgence, boy, my mind is far from easy. For in these once familiar streets, I feel the chill of ghostly shadows everywhere.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Yeah, I'm like,
Awesome.
that was really cool.
I was in Sweeney Todd there for a
Yeah, I was
second.
like,
What
I was like,
happened?
all right.
we're there. We're there.
That's awesome. That was really cool.
Yeah, so Mrs. Lovett, she kind of the problem is that every rendition that someone does is different. No one does the exact same accent, because she's just very frantic. It feels like, especially for me, I've found that when she in Act 2, again without spoilers, it's so hard, but in Act 2 there's a period where she just feels much more successful. There's an upswing in her life. And from there, I tried to put a more traditional British swing on it, or a Londoner type of accent on it. But for the most part, she talks like this. It's very cut off. What won't be missed. And she's got a very cut off accent, and she, like I said, it's very lower class. Like, Michael, who plays Anthony, is doing an amazing job of having this very nice, like, Hermione Granger type of British accent. Like, it's very prim and it's very proper, where Mrs. Lovett is just cut up, and she's very thick in her talk, which is kind of nice to lean into. It's pretty fun.
Do you like Sweeney?
Whoa.
Elaborate.
I'm saying, do you just enjoy him? Like, if you could meet Sweeney Todd, would you like him?
No. No, but I don't think anyone would.
Huh.
I mean, he is excellent at his craft. He originally would have, like, if we're talking past Sweeney, a little spoilery, but Benjamin Barker, then yes, because he is a very loving man.
Yeah.
What he has turned into is a monster. Like, there's no other way around it. Like, he is just a monster. He is singular driven. He has one goal in life, and that is revenge. That's a terrible person to meet. So you do not want to ever run into those type of people.
Yeah.
So I guess no, I don't like Sweeney.
Actually, I hate him.
No, because I think you do have a respect for him.
Oh, of course.
I think that there's definitely a difference between
You have
liking
to.
and respect. Yeah.
You have to respect a character that is this demanding. You have to respect it.
Yes.
If you don't, then it will consume you further.
I would say mine is kind of the opposite to Chris's, where Chris needs to really let go of his character. I feel like I need to swim in her energy, like, in order to really get into who Mrs. Lovett is. Like I've said, pretty much like a broken record, I feel personally very detached from the character as myself. And having to dive into that for hours and hours and hours, like, it's sometimes hard for me to keep it on. You know, it's hard for me to sit in that for too long. I tend to sit back into myself or revert back into like a quieter mindset, where Lovett is really just throwing streamers and scream it. She's just all over the place all the time, in hopes of either catching his attention or catching the public attention. Like, she loves external validation, and like having to really lean into that has probably been the hardest part for me. She's been a character whom I'm obsessed with and love on paper, but realizing her has been an interesting realization of like how extroverted I want to be as a person and how extroverted I want to be on the stage, which are two very different things. So how I balance that, and even like bringing her into my life a little bit. Like, I personally wouldn't want Sweeney in my life very much. I don't think carrying his energy around would be very pleasant, but
It's dark.
yeah.
So dark.
But Mrs. Lovett on the surface, I feel like I could use a little bit more of her in my real life, you know, being a little more out there with people and being a little more on the gun. So that's probably been the hardest part, is just the character work, the emotional attachment to it, how little you give to it, for sure.
And where I can draw some comparison to Sweeney is you do have to be able to recognize where he's coming from. It isn't just you can shut it off and nope, he is a monster. That's it.
Yeah.
To properly give the character justice and kind of put it on stage how I would like to put it on stage is recognizing where he's coming from. Not that you have to 100% agree with it, but you have to understand that ultimately he's coming from a place of love. I mean, his family was taken from him. That you have to be able to recognize that and realize that regardless of how it manifests, it's coming from a place of love that you can attach to, because it's ultimately there is a human deep down inside of him, buried deep down inside of him,
Like way in there.
way in there. It comes out every once in a while. There are a couple scenes that it does peek out. But yeah, it's, so what he's saying is you do attach to his drive, where he's coming from, why he's doing what he's doing, because ultimately he was wronged. And his pathway to seeking that revenge is wrong. I mean, he's kills a lot of people. So many people. So many, and then they eat them. It's wild. It's wild. It's a crazy show. It turns them into pies. So. His methodology may be wrong, but the basis of what he's doing, you have to be able to kind of see where he is an anti-hero to a degree. Mm-hmm. It isn't just all dark and gloomy. It's like, oh, well, he has a point. Mm-hmm. But
maybe it's extreme, but he has a point there. There's a point somewhere.
Yeah, maybe the 9-minute song about turning people into pies is a bit much, but
depends on who's looking at it, I guess.
Yeah. If you really like meat pies, that's fine.
Right?
If you're hungry or not, I guess
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. If I can add to that too, I think a lot of the premise for like that idea of like having respect over having a likability for the character, if you have a good playwright like Sondheim, if you have a really strong playwright, your characters are human. You know, they're never going to be all right. They're never going to be all wrong. And kind of understanding that place of where they are coming from and, you know, those really human emotions we have, you know, like I think of Mrs. Lovett particularly, like on a surface level, yes, she's loud and crazy and bubbly, but that's all to get people to like her and to want her. Like her whole goal is to get Sweeney Todd to love her. That's all she wants. And so she does these unthinkable things so that he sticks around a little bit longer, you know? So like each of these characters that you meet are so disgustingly human in the way that there is no true good guy or bad guy, because it comes into a conversation of, well, is there good or evil? You know, like how much good or evil are we built in? So definitely like the conversation of who Benjamin Barker is and who Sweeney Todd is and how they cross roads and how they very much do not. Like, I feel like it's just a very human perspective of like we all have good and bad. It's just how we act on it and what catalysts happen which push us to act certain ways, you know. It's cool to look at, especially with a genius playwright, you know. You can, there's definitely some characters that don't read as human, but Sondheim does a good job of it.
Couple more questions for you guys here, that which you're talking about, you know, the different levels of the character and kind of how the whole purpose of, you know, her is trying to like cater into getting him to stick around longer, which I takes some pretty extensive things to how dark his character is.
Yep.
Do you think that there's anything about your character that you find super valuable and super pivotal to your performance that you feel like the audience might not see when they're watching it?
Oh man.
Chris just took a seat back. He's like, I don't know.
And he slams the rest of the coffee.
Where'd you get these questions from?
Take 5. Man, I don't know. I think Mrs. Lovett's story, with the facade of just a mile a minute crazy, like the crazy energy that she brings, it is a rather sad story. Like, she has a really sad premise of just her business never took off. She's living alone. Everyone around her is succeeding, and she's the only one there. And finally, this man whom she has been obsessed with knocks on her door. And, like, the desperation of her love, of quite literally killing people for him to stay with her. Like, she's just like, yeah, okay, you're gonna stay though, right? Like,
Oh my gosh.
it's a really sad, like textbook toxic relationship. And I think that that's not necessarily something that the audience won't see, but something that you really have to connect to. You know, you have to get past her initial presenting character of, you know, like changing eye perspective really quickly. She jumps from place to place, and even in her first song, Worst Pies in London, she's talking to him and killing bugs and kneading dough, and I don't know, she's doing everything. She's all over the place, but it's all to make him stay one more minute, all to get one more minute of that validation that she so seeks.
There is a lot that you can learn, that you perceive as an audience member watching the show. As long as you're paying attention, you get a very, very straightforward grasp of the plot. But what we get to do as performers is provide the undercurrents. It's the small emotions that we're thinking about, that we have used to build our character, that are a part of the plot, that if the audience is looking, if they are truly paying attention, they will see. If you're not, if you are just...
Okay.
not to look your direction immediately.
If you didn't watch it right.
And that's why I say this is definitely a show that's worth multiple viewings, because every time you do watch it, every time you may listen to it or see it on stage or watch the movie, you do see something new every time. I mean, I don't know how many times I have gone through this score, performed it on stage, performed it in rehearsal. You learn something every time. There's never going to be a point with this show that I will have known everything. You gain a little bit of knowledge every single time. So it really is just what is past the surface level, that if the audience can cue into that, it really just deepens your experience as a viewer.
Yeah. That just means you have to come to all 3 shows.
Yeah.
So you can see it 3 times.
All 3 shows. Is there anything, and I'll close with one final question. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you guys feel like is necessary for the people that are watching this and just anybody that's coming to the show?
Chris is so done with us.
The heavy-hitting questions from this side of the table.
It's a heavy-hitting character.
I guess it is a spectacle. It is a spectacle of a show. I mean, just again, the music and the plot, getting to do this with an orchestra, incredibly talented actors. It is a spectacle, top to bottom. You're looking at a huge story that we're putting on stage in a relatively short amount of time for the amount of things that go on. Just the props and the set. It is what I feel attaches, like the non-typical theater goers will see a show like this and just be impressed because there is so much going on. A lot of people have a misconception with theater that they just picture the high school recital that they went to because their niece was in it, and then they just had to go watch it, and then they leave and they're like, oh God, I never want to do that again. This level of theater is not that. So it truly is the spectacle of theater. It's just to sit there and be impressed by everything you see, because there are a million moving pieces, and the audience might see one or two at a time. But what may look like something simple on stage, there are a team of people that have had to spend hours and hours and hours thinking about it and rehearsing it. And then we put it on stage and it just works. But wow, was it a mess trying to get there.
That's what the rehearsals are for.
It definitely, I think, like Chris said, that's the biggest thing is just like having people come and enjoy the art. Whether you are my grandma who's going to be like, wait, they were killing people? Like, she's not going to get there.
There were people in the pies?
If you're one of those people who's really just there to enjoy the music, or you are someone who really wants to dissect that plot, like Chris said, it's just art. It's pure, unadulterated art, from the score to the people putting it on to the people backstage who are moving props. Like, what do we have? A team of almost 100 people? Like,
total, yeah.
Yeah.
100 people.
Almost, yeah.
Gosh.
Like working solely on this
incredible.
production. It's so expansive, and what you see on stage is, like Chris said, just the final product. Everything that builds up to that, all the work that people do, all the work that's happening simultaneously while we're on stage. There's a part of me that thinks that we do the easy part. Like the people backstage who are moving the show along with us. It's insane, all of the work and the preparation that goes into it, and just to see the end product is the best part. It really is. You should see it. Come see it. Come see it.
Come see it.
Come see it. Wait, can we get a come see it in the voices you guys use?
Oh boy.
Come see the show.
Oh boy.
Yeah, please.
You must come see the show.
What he said. Down on Fleet Street. Fleet Street. Come on down to my meat pie shop if you like. Some fine refreshments.
Guys, thank you so much for your time. We had such a great time talking to you guys today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the show. Really looking forward to
April
it.
5th and 6th.
April 5th and 6th. Be sure to be there. But thank you guys.
Thank you. It was fun.
How would you like a little musty, a little dick, a little bounce around the bush? Would you like to push me trumpet? It looks to me then like you got